put it bluntly.
Accessibility podcast called To Put It Bluntly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 25 of To Put It Bluntly. We are back with a guest this week, and it's been a bit of a mad couple of weeks for us. I can now announce I've started a new role in the industry, so as you can probably tell, I'm in even worse of an organised state than I normally am. As ever, I am joined by my hostess with the mostess, Mr. Cameron Keywood. Cam, how the devil are we, sir? It's been a while.
Yes, it's been quite a while. Hello, everybody. I'm here. We have reached 25 episodes, quarter of a century. It's quite unbelievable. Who would have thought after episode 2 we'd still be here?
And not be cancelled.
Anyway, and not be cancelled, the main thing. But that's not the only thing that you've got a new job. You've also got a credit in a game, I believe.
Yes, so I could actually announce it this week as well. I've got my first accreditation in Atomfall from the amazing guys at Rebellion. I worked with Carrie and her team for quite a little while on the accessibility of Atomfall, and proud to say it's got good accessibility. So that's always good when you get your first accreditation and you've done your job right, I suppose.
If it was bad, perhaps you wouldn't get another one.
Yeah, so I'll take that. That's a good win. It's been I started that, and we announced this week that I am a junior accessibility specialist with Manycats, who have picked up a contract with a AAA publisher. And yeah, that's been exciting. It's been 10 days now. Yeah, give or take 10 days, and I'm loving it. It's really good. As quite a lot of you know, it's my first industry role. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a week. But we also, as ever, are joined by a guest.
Yeah, nothing about Wobbles, though.
Yeah, you don't need to hear about me talk. I'm fed up of talking
Don't need to hear about him. You see him every week.
Yeah.
We have a guest, and it's our first developer of this series, I think. We have Rafe. Rafe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. Yes, I'm Raffael. First of all, I guess congrats on all the milestones reached. 25 episodes and industry role and first credit. I mean, way to go.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, I'm Raf. I'm an indie developer from Austria. Me and my team, we're currently working on our first bigger game, like our first commercial release, so to say, called Panta Rhei. In the industry, I've been active in the industry, especially in the Austrian industry, for now about 3 to 4 years, 5 years if you count all the studying. And I'm kind of doing everything that's not art and audio. So my main focus is production, project management. I'm also tech lead, so I'm doing most of the programming. And then as it is with indies, kind of wearing a lot of hats. So I'm also doing a bit of writing, doing a bit of narrative design, game design, level design, or those bits and pieces that no one else wants or can do at any given moment. So that's about
great,
it.
Yeah. We will talk a lot more about Panta Rhei over the episode. But first off, what's everybody been playing this week? We'll start with our guest this week, I think, for a change.
This week, considering that it's only Wednesday, I didn't really actually play a lot. This week in particular, I just recently picked up playing Röki, like a small narrative adventure game set in Scandinavian Nordic mythology. I first started playing this on the Switch, and I'm really enjoying that. It's really wholesome. It's really sweet. I love the art. I love the vibes of it. So that's it.
Yeah, like I say, you're a busy man, so you don't have time to play games.
It turns out once you start making games,
you
don't really have time to play games a lot anymore.
What about you, my co-host? What have you been playing?
So I've been kind of jumping between Assassin's Creed Shadows and Atomfall, which I've not really touched a lot on because I'm trying to save that for stream. But Assassin's Creed Shadows, I was going to stream it, and then was like, actually no, because I really am enjoying it, and if I've got a spare hour in the day, I'm going to pick up and play it rather than wait to have to stream it. So I am actually really enjoying Shadows. I quite like Valhalla, to be fair, and so yeah, I really am enjoying Shadows. And actually, it's again good accessibility. Good, it's just a good game, fun. It's Cameron, I know what you've been playing.
I've been playing a bit of Shadows as well. Like I said, accessibility is good. I did like Valhalla, but I thought it was too big. I'd still be playing it now if it was the only game I owned. I still would be done. I put about 180 hours in. I hadn't finished the DLC, so and I was like, oh, I'm done. It took me a month. So, but yeah, it's really good. I'm enjoying it. Both playing as both. I don't say Protestants. I don't get religious about it. Both protagonists. There we go. I want to start that war. Yeah, both protagonists. I've been enjoying it, and now feels like a more assassin. While Yasuke feels like you can just brute force your way through. So I've been enjoying it, and yeah, obviously no many spoilers because it's still quite brand new out. Yeah, it's been really good. We've also played a bit of Split Fiction together.
Yes, we have. I'm still really enjoying that. I'm kind of looking forward to getting back into a set routine to then play some more of that. But no, it's kind of
Yep.
we're in a bit of a mini release window. There's lots coming out at the moment again,
Yeah,
and
You're really up to date on the current gaming
yeah,
landscape.
it's
yeah. So somebody gets them for free.
yeah. There's the perks of being a content creator, I suppose.
Yeah,
That's the perks.
I rent mine, but yeah,
No, let's
Atom Fall is coming to me tomorrow as well. I got
So,
that coming through my
yeah,
renting. So
and
yeah, carry on, sir.
no, I was going to say, should we move on to the segment that's going to be more interesting than me and you waffling about the games we're playing? Should we
Yeah, I
yeah.
think anything is, to be fair.
So I always ask this question: who is Raf?
Woohoo! It's
Who?
me.
It's me. Yeah. So you've obviously just touched like slightly there. You're working on your first big indie game, in your words, big project. You've obviously got a team around you as well now. Um, have you released something previously on your own then?
Um, well, we've been like my journey into game development kind of started with picking up a bachelor study here in Austria, or in Salzburg to be specific, multimedia tech. So, and it was a game development focused study program. So we kind of did our own projects and our own side projects and game jams during this course, so like over the 3 years of the bachelor and the 2 years of the master. So I do have a few like more or less finished projects from that time, which are like released on Edge and available to play, or like some prototypes lying around, but like nothing really of a commercial project, like something that we released on Steam with and then like sold to people. We kind of went straight from like small game jam titles and ideas and prototypes to we want to make something bigger, and then it kind of snowballed, and now we're hopefully close to release.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I got a bachelor's and a master's as well, and once you finish that, you go from you've done game jam projects to oh god, I have to make a full game. Like
Yeah.
I haven't had a team like with me. I've done like my like small little playable games solo, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't think it sets you up as it could for the industry here. What's it like in Austria? Does it set you up a bit better, would you think, than it would here?
There's not really, at least right now, not really a good infrastructure for starting an indie studio, especially games focused. Like the Austrian industry is really small, which is like good and bad. Like the good thing is when you're here for a bit, for like a few years, and you're a bit active, pretty soon you meet everyone
Yeah,
who's kind of important, and everyone's really close together. And we like to help each other, and we can share projects or insights. So everyone's really close. We're all in the same boat. But on the other hand, it's a small industry. So we just recently did industry report last year with the Games Association here, and that's I think 150 companies. Like our biggest company, Still Alive Studios, with around 70 to 80 employees. So that's kind of the range where we're
yeah,
working here. Like politics and funding, they're like slowly picking up on games. So we are trying to push really hard in that direction to get more media coverage and events going. But like politics just takes its time. So right now there's, especially outside of the capital Vienna, there's not really a lot of funding available, which is very sad because we do have exceptional education. Actually, we do have like FH Salzburg, where I came from, FH Hagenberg. We have like a lot of universities of applied sciences mostly, which offer
Yeah.
like really great education for game programmers, game artists. But then they kind of come out of university, and then there's no funding to start your own studio, and not really good funding for existing studios to kind of offer them jobs. So you're kind of coming out of this. We're investing a lot of money into the education, and then there's not really something to do with all the talent we have, and then I don't
Yeah.
know, they leave for Germany or somewhere else.
So it is quite like where I am. I'm based in Wales, which is like smaller part of the United Kingdom, and it's
mm,
sort of the similar. Everyone knows each other.
yeah,
There's like a big community with we meet up once a month and we share projects and stuff like that. So it's nice to hear similar, but again, it is a problem where
yeah.
governments are only now catching up to these games. Oh, they make money. Oh, we need money.
Yeah, I mean, the games industry actually is very lucrative, and like it could be a huge boost for like on a technological level and
Yeah.
also on an economical level. But yeah, with a more conservative um, government, it's always hard pushing like these kinds of branches. But yeah, so it's not easy, but like we were lucky to get some public funding, so kind of trying to fit in with the more classical startups, kind of inserting ourselves into this kind of infrastructure. And also one thought was why we kind of started out of university. It's kind of a now or never moment.
Yeah.
Because right now, most of us are either still studying or like we can still get like some funding for our studies, or I can live at home, or don't have um, that many bills to pay on a daily basis. Like I can live from frozen pizza for a week, so to say, if the cash flow isn't there. But like once, I guess later in life, if you have like a house or like family and actual things that you have to pay off, it might be harder to try it. And like if we that the risk is kind of low right now. Like if we fail commercially, we still have learned a lot from this project, and like we lost so to say
No, I
two
like that.
years.
It's
Yeah, I was gonna say one of us two has got a wife and a kid, and
yeah.
would understand about responsibility.
Yeah,
So
no, I love that.
you can be the authority on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it
yeah,
does. It does. It's like you've said. You've kind of hit it right. You can't afford to take that risk when you've got family, a child, and yeah. Whereas if you're kind of like yourself, fresh out of uni, say to say, and yeah, you can kind
yeah.
of go right. Let's make a game and see how it goes, kind of thing. Um, why games design? I know that's a pretty so. Any particular reason? Obviously,
Well,
normally people the typical answer is a love of video games, but any.
I think it's kind of interesting for me because I never really was big into video games growing up. Like generally, was mostly coming from a board game kind of perspective. Played a lot of board games with my family, like my friends started doing tabletop RPGs as well. Like kind of in school with 13 to 18, that kind of range. I played mostly on Nintendo DS, and then like the first Wii that came out. But yeah, well, I wasn't really a gamer as you have it in or like as you imagine it. And then like when it came to thinking about what to do after school, um, I kind of just stumbled into this. Like I kind of just realized that there is this study degree in my hometown, Salzburg, where you can do game development. For oh, that looks interesting. I kind of just applied for it a week before the deadline, and I got in, and I didn't really know what to expect, but um, yeah, I fit right in. It was really amazing for me because I was always also with board games or like tabletop RPGs. I was always the forever DM. I was always kind of more interested in creating those things. I've very fond memories of me and my dad kind of creating board games or like tinkering with board game components to create new things. So I was very fascinated with these kinds of aspects. And then I was a little bit frustrated if like my peers in school didn't share this kind of enthusiasm for, they played, we didn't play Dungeons and Dragons, but like they played pen and paper with me, but they're not like, they didn't want to DM. And then suddenly I'm in university and I'm suddenly surrounded by all those young, ambitious people who want to create things and tell stories and make games. I'm like, whoa, I'm not alone anymore. I have like people who want to do things with me.
Yeah,
And
that's great though, because most people, I would say 90%. I'm not a scientist or a statistician, so I can't say for sure, but I'd say at least 90% of people that get into games development had like really love of playing games with the younger. So to you, like you did play games, obviously, because you said your DS and your Wii, but
yeah.
you will focus on the board game sort of aspect. So we'll talk about board games for a bit. So what sort of board games, other than obviously Dungeons and Dragons, like tabletops, did you play?
Um, Unfortunately, I don't really play a lot of board games anymore because I moved to Vienna. Like I don't have a lot of people around there, but played all sorts of board games, like like strategy games and all of those. I'm just thinking of like good examples. I'm kind of in a weird void right now because didn't really play any board games for the last 2 to 3 years since I moved to Vienna. Like I'm working on video games here and didn't really find a lot of. I mean, there would be people, but it's kind of hard finding people to play these really heavy 3 to 4 hour board games with me. But I've started listening to board game podcasts anyway, so I'm kind of in this weird state of picking up a lot of board game news, but not being able to play them. But from a tabletop RPG perspective, I played an kind of unknown. I'm not sure how unknown it is, but it was called Heredium. It's like a German RPG. I never really played the mainstream RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons or the German counterpart, the DSR. Was more always into like these weird indie RPGs. Like we played a bunch of Heredium, which is set in like a post-apocalyptic setting. After the moon exploded, more or less, and like there's
As it
different
does, yeah,
factions
as it
under,
does.
as it does sometimes. And like then I got into like a rabbit hole of exploring all those indie RPGs or like these small. I was always very fascinated by these very small one-shot RPGs where you have like what was it called? Honey Heist. It's like a very small rule set, and you're a bunch of bears trying to break into a honey convention and stealing honey.
Oh no, that sounds amazing.
It is really great, and it's like
That
it boils down to every player has just like 2 stats, and you have 1 die, and it's really focused on.
that sounds
Also,
like something that could be made into like a video game as well. Like,
true,
hey,
yeah.
that might be a next project. You never know. But
Might be, might be.
speaking of projects, so where did Panta Rhei come from? First off, what does it mean? Is it like
Yes.
what does it Well, what does it mean? Is it like a meaning behind it, or is it just you've gone
Yeah.
on Google,
Yeah.
typed in random words, and oh, they look good together?
No, yeah. Panta Rhei means everything flows in Old Greek. It comes from like a philosophical concept from I think Heraclit with the I'm not sure how it's called in English, but it's about time. I like the name. And we kind of settled on this as a working title. I think it comes from this philosophical concept where you never enter a river as the same person. Like you change when you enter the river and you exit the river, you're a
Yeah,
different person. Like the passage of time, kinda.
a lot wetter as
And
well.
yes, and yeah, we kind of settled on this as a working title and then stuck with it, and it never changed. So it's still this title. And yeah, it is connected to the main theme of the game, which is about time manipulation. So in Panta Rhei, you take on the role of Fee, a guardian of time or a reluctant guardian of time. Um, who kind of went into exile after a great cataclysm in the Garden of Past, kind of hiding there from the chaos outside. But then it's like these forces of chaos starting to embark or like to threaten Fee's home, the Garden of Past. They kind of have to go on their quest to the origin of time to save the realms, and also kind of literally and figuratively break out of their own past and overcome their trauma to save the day. And yeah, on a narrative kind of perspective, we want to look at time as kind of our most important resource, like something we as humans, like the most important resource that we as humans kind of have. It's something that we shouldn't just let flow by, but kind of can control how we spend it and what we do with it. Yeah, thinking about it, it's like the most important thing that I can give to another person. Like the most meaningful thing is spending time with them, because everything else is kind of irrelevant in comparison to that. And yeah, and in the game, very directly, you have abilities to control time. So main characters, you can reward time, or split time to kind of jump between positions and use that for solving puzzles and exploration and combat, of course. Kind of embedded into this adventure roguelite setting. There's also a more chaotic explanation than I normally do.
Yeah,
but
it's well perfect. Like I was just about to say, what sort of inspirations do you have, like from other games, TV? Obviously, the philosophers you mentioned is obviously an inspiration as well. But
Mhm.
is there any like media that's inspired the gameplay?
Yes, I have like I'm not 100% sure how like all the different inspiration came together in the end. In my mind, kind of at some point just started existing as this game, which is about time. Because I remember that we had like a very chaotic phase of trying out different aspects or different approaches. Also, like before we had the the name. At some point, it was also more going into a direction of working with sound and like echo and resonance and these kind of things. We kind of were figuring out the core mechanics. But I really remember one specific time when me and my game design lead, we were watching Tenet, I think Christopher Nolan,
Yeah, yeah.
the
You know,
the,
yeah.
the infamous time manipulation or time travel. I guess you can call it a time travel movie. And really fascinated by this concept of like moving forward and then moving backward, but kind of the same timeline. Like it would be so cool to have a game with like um, this kind of mechanic, like being able to manipulate time or like walk forward or do combat, especially doing combat like reversed. I'm kind of really intrigued by this kind of idea. Um, and yeah, that was, I think, one of the core starting points. I mean, we were already into the development of, we already had like our combat setup and we were experimenting with the core abilities. But you remember this being like, okay, yeah, we really want to do something with this time manipulation aspect as well, and like really focus on that. Yeah, that's where this came from.
That's, do you have anything to ask, Wobbles?
So, do you have like, because it's not set in any specific time zone, is it? It's not like in the Greek era. Have you kind of had to create a whole new world yourselves,
Yes.
or have you kind of lent on points in history, or have you kind of just gone, I want it to look like this, be like this, and it's all very much from Raf's imagination, or has it kind of come from a collective?
Yeah. So we did create a new world for this. So it's not set in a specific existing or non-existing or like already existing IP or setting. It's also not mainly my ideas in there. Like I am technically project lead. I'm doing all the producing and things, but most of the narrative and artistic direction is coming from different people in the team. We're like about, I think, like 5 people in the core team. Like if you count all the freelancers and project partners working, it's always about 10 to 12 people, I think, working on the game with limited amount of hours per week. But yeah, we did create a world for this. It's kind of set in the realm of time. So we did the plan for the game is to have the 3 distinctive zones or biomes: the Garden of Past, then what we currently call the Lakeside View, which is representative of the present, and then the Clockwork City, which is representative of the future. And especially for the Garden of Past, I think as it's the most developed, we have really clear vision of, also from the artistic perspective, to kind of evoke a feeling of nostalgia as well. So it's not the classic colors you would expect from a garden. It's not a lot of greens. We're really focusing on a color palette that's akin to the golden hour, like lots of oranges, brown, yellow, like the light coming in from a very low angle, kind of trying to evoke this feeling of kind of being in your childhood, playing in your grandmother's garden, like not having a lot to worry about. Yeah, kind of creating this kind of setting. And then when you move forward, kind of going into the wilderness, approaching the next areas where it's also more dangerous, more chaotic, kind of these more creepy elements start creeping in. I think one main focus for the lakeside view, like the area that represents the present, was to have kind of 2 distinctive kind of sets. One, we're currently calling them the ravines and the actual lakeside view, to have this distinction between like ravines where the time flow or like the water kind of rushes through and it's all very fast and hectic, like it sometimes is in the present. Like you have moments where like everything's happening at once when you're starting a new job and you have to record a podcast and
Yeah, yep.
like like time just flies, and then suddenly you're like you're coming out of these ravines and you're at the lakeside view and everything kind of stands still and you can really enjoy the moment, and you have these, I don't know, evenings where you can just hang out with a friend and it kind of seems like an eternity passes. Kind of want to highlight this distinction between how the present can kind of feel. Yeah, I hope we'll get there. I
Yeah,
hope
no,
we'll manage to really communicate that. But that was one of the main inspirations, or like one main direction for the location
So-
representing the present.
you've said how. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you, Raf?
I am 25 right
25.
now.
How? So
Yes.
it must be quite, because you've got a team of 12, and like you've said, it's, yeah, to be 25 and kind of leading a team of that size in what is essentially like your first commercial project. What's the kind of barriers you've faced massively? Because it's quite like, without putting like it into
Yeah.
too simple terms, it's a bit of pressure on yourself, isn't it, for someone at 25 to kind of be like, right, I'm going to take on a full commercial lead and just go for it. I fully respect it. I love it.
Yeah. 100%.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm sometimes questioning it myself. Why am I doing this? No, it's I feel like with a producer role, or like for me at least, it's kind of like I ended up in the industry, kind of stumbling into this study program. I also kind of stumbled into this producer project management role. Kind of when you start working on project, like I met first few people. With some of them are still in the team now, but we kind of started doing game jams and projects, and you realize, oh, someone has to, like when you have to organize 3 or 4 programmers and like an artist suddenly, or someone has to do the management and the producing. And I didn't really realize that being a producer is a job, like an explicit role that you can have in the indie industry. I kind of just stumbled into this and started doing this, and then realized, oh, well, that's a job I can do. So I was kind of growing into this role with the team, and I think I'm very lucky with like having how do you put this? I was suddenly surrounded, like also with this team, I'm surrounded by like a lot of really, really talented and ambitious people who really want to get things done. And my role mostly is just making sure that everyone is working in the same direction. And I think it's really, really rewarding, kind of being able to enable those other peoples to like really shine in their role and make those connections possible so they can kind of work off each other and create those beautiful things. So yeah, I was lucky in that sense as well that we had a lot of time kind of getting to know each other and growing into this role. So Panta Rhei is now in development for about 4 years, and we kind of always did this on the side next to university and now next to freelancing and other jobs that people have. So we never really we had a lot of time, especially during university, where we could just try out all the different processes, and like we went really deep into agile methods and did Scrum and Kanban and all the tools. We had all the tools. We had a Miro board and we had a Trello board and we had an Atlassian thing. We don't really have a lot of those anymore, but it was really important for us to kind of act professional and try out all these things.
Yeah,
And
find out what works. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and now I can more comfortably kind of say or like see what is working for the team, and like we made a lot of experiences with that already. So um yeah, I guess it just kind of stumbled into this, and now I'm too deep in to
Yeah.
stop.
Overcommitted. He's just there's
Yeah.
no turning back now. So what's the future for Panta Rhei? How long are you? Because you've said 4 years part-time development. It's
There is a demo out on Steam as well.
that's what I
There'll
was
be a
about to
link in
say.
the camp.
I looked at it on Steam and stuff, and yeah, it's got the
Yes.
demo and it it looks. I love the art style, and it does look something I've not seen that kind of art style for a while, and looks really good. But what's next for it? Are you kind of what stage are you at as a team? Are you
Yes.
kind of looking and going, right, we're gonna get it out in the next 12 months, or is it we'll do it when we're ready? Kind of hitting
Def,
it's it.
def, definitely. Our current plan is to release this summer. So somewhere July, August in this range where we're aiming to release there. So we kind of fully committed to the project like a year and a half ago when we founded the company. It was 2023 when we founded the company. So this we kind of fully committed to this project with the core team. And now for the last year, more or less, we've been ramping up production. Also started, we've partnered up with lovely animation studio in Germany. They're called Oma Animation, who's helping us out with like 2D animated cutscenes and like what you can also see in the trailer. We've partnered up with some lovely people from, actually one person from Scandinavia. They're called Nordic Scoring, who is like doing audio for us. We've just recently partnered with GameIfYouAre for marketing. So we kind of spent the last 2 years networking, like meeting a lot of people that could help us, and of course also searching for publisher, but wasn't the best 2 years to be searching for a
Yeah.
publisher.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So it's
yeah.
all for funding in general, but so yeah, we kind of do have now all the partners. So like we got the team. The 12 people are kind of the core team that I have here with like my freelancing people. But then we also have this animation studio and the marketing people. So there, I think I shouldn't think too much about it, but there are like actually a lot of people who have their hands
In the
somewhere
pot,
in
yeah.
this project.
Yeah.
Um, is a bit crazy, but where was I going with this? So yeah, we are kind of in full production, and money will be running out at the end of this year, at the latest, to kind of finance all of this. So we will definitely release end of July or like July, August in this time range.
Yeah.
But we are self-publishing, so we are kind of free with the exact timing. So it's really once we run out of money, we have to put this out at some point.
Well,
It's never bad to
yeah.
have a like a deadline like this. 'Cause it's
Is it quite hard
Yeah.
for you because it's a passion? It kind of started off by the sounds of it as a passion project, didn't it? And now you kind of got to get to that point where you've kind of got to go right. Whatever state it's currently in, we have to ship. And as something that starts off a passion project, I can imagine that's quite hard to kind of watch go out the door almost because I know the game dev cycle doesn't end. There will be things you can do after launch, but it's kind
Yeah.
of like a big, especially if you're 25, you've been working on it through after uni. That's
Yeah.
it's going to be quite a moment for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't really imagine how the time after release will be. Like in my mind, there is not really a time without Panta Rhei. Like
Yeah.
working on it for the better part of the last 4 years, roughly. So I don't really know what's gonna happen after that. But yeah, generally it did start. Well, it did start as a uni project actually. I mean, it's still a passion project, but it was something we had to do for our bachelor degree, and then kind of out of this, we already had the first prototype and we had the first playable. So we saw like, okay, this is actually promising. We really like how this is going. We can imagine building something bigger. But it was kind of from the start also with we were from the start really focused on also the kind of business aspects of it, but not so far in that direction of it going. But like once we realized, okay, we could take this out of university, it was always kind of okay. What does this mean for us? As like we need to found a company, we need to like finance this somehow. Like how can we get this out in a way that makes sense long term for us as a team. And like a lot of things changed since then. Most of the people that like were initially in the team and like initially in the founding team aren't, or like in the initial team before we founded the company,
Yeah.
put it like that, aren't actually in the project anymore. So a lot of things changed, but we always set on releasing this game as a fully polished project. So it is still kind of it's less hard, I guess, for me, maybe from coming from a producing perspective, because I'm just trying to now in the last 4 or 5 months, we are on a really good way for most things. We do have a very clear vision of what we need to achieve the vision that we initially set out for, and we know where we can cut. So it's kind of just wrapping up everything and like putting a nice bow on it to provide the experience that we want to. And at the end, yeah, it's still art is never really finished. It's just abandoned at some point. We're kind of trying to abandon it at a point where we're happy with it.
I love that's quite deep. That's a quite deep thing to say,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
you just got to abandon it at some point and forget about it and kind of move on.
And I was thinking then, I was thinking I wouldn't want my first bachelor, one of my bachelor projects to be out in the wild. No, sorry.
Yeah, I think what's also interesting now with, because most of us, we had really chaotic 3 years, like all of us coming out of university and doing internships or starting jobs or starting a new study program. And now most of us are kind of in a situation where we all finished with our studies. Some of us have jobs, some of us have like concrete plans of what they want to do after the projects. We're starting to think about other ideas that we want to do. So it's kind of a good time to wrap this up and like start focusing on whatever's coming after that.
So do you have an idea of what you want to do next? Is it going to be right? I'm going to work on maybe another
It
indie
will,
game, or would Raf like to go and join a AAA publisher, or kind of what's next for Raf kind of thing, rather than what's next for Panta Rhei. Let's talk about Raf. What does Raf want to do with himself once Panta Rhei's, as you put it, been abandoned?
hopefully not completely abandoned. Well, let's see. Me, I will take an extended break and live in Thailand for a bit, hopefully, with my family there. But
Sleep, I think, is what you're trying to.
Yeah, yeah. That's code for sleep.
Yeah.
And relax.
no, but generally, For me, I learned a lot about running a company, like managing an indie studio. I've met a lot of people here in the Austrian industry. I'm also currently doing outside of Panta Rhei, or like with the company Reignite, kind of doing freelancing work for smaller indie games, or like other studios we know in Austria. I'm also pretty active with the Games Association here, the PGDA, the Pioneers of Game Dev Austria, where I'm mostly doing like mentoring programs, kind of managing that. We're actually launching the next mentoring program next week, so I also have to prepare a bit for that. Also, we're doing, me and a colleague, we're also doing another association that's called Create. We are kind of we're calling them indie areas. It's kind of like small exhibition spaces at most of the bigger pop culture events here in Austria. So we're kind of attaching us to the comic and anime conventions and esports conventions, kind of providing free spaces for small indie teams or like student teams to exhibit their games and prototypes. So that's really important to me because it's kind of how we started as well with
Yeah.
Panta Rhei, kind of exhibiting at the esports event in Salzburg and kind of making the first connections to the wider industry. So I'm definitely planning to focus on that and like kind of build up like we're kind of building up this association and like these programs and kind of I want to stay involved with this for as much as possible. And then it really depends a lot on how the reception for Panta Rhei will be and what new opportunities kind of come out of this, either for the game itself or like for the company. Because how we are currently working as a team is more or less like a collective of freelancers, and I like to say, because it's a bunch of people doing like their own freelancing work, or like whenever I get like a bigger project, like some news from the other indie studios and they need help, we can kind of team up as a freelancing team to take on like smaller tasks. So we're mostly doing now prototyping or like concept development tasks for some of the studios. So I'd love to keep this team together in some capacity, either working on freelancing gigs, especially for like art direction / concept development, or being able to do smaller capital, yes, I guess the smaller projects for
Yeah.
whatever is coming next. So I would love to stay indie. I would love to stay a freelancer. I think that's generally. I'm not sure if that's an industry-wide thing or like just an Austrian thing right now, but I think running a full-fledged company this scale right now is very hard with the additional cost that's coming, and I'm really enjoying the setup right now of being very flexible with a team of freelancers. We can kind of scale up or like put resources in different projects depending on what's needed. Then also have the flexibility to kind of put our own projects in there if we get the funding for it. And right now we also have, that's also the good thing kind of coming from Panta Rhei and like being very involved, that we were really involved in most industry events in Austria, so we do have a really good connection to all the other studios, to all the events, to also the funding, the people that do the funding. So I kind of know all of these people now. And
Yeah.
kind of just seeing what comes out of this for the next few years and what opportunities. So I
No,
guess the main focus is staying flexible.
no, and it sounds like, yeah, you're a busy man, Raf. Do you ever sleep? Is that something that comes?
Sleep.
Game devs and
Um,
sleep do not mix.
not well.
No.
I do have some crazy weeks. Like recently for the demo launch, I think I had like 90 hours that week, which I can't recommend. Yeah, sometimes it's really like you see my bed is just here. So I kind of get up,
Yeah, me
turn
as well.
turn on the PC, and then in the evening just drop down.
Just fall back into it. Yeah. No. So
No, generally it is a focus for the future as well, a big learning as well from this project to kind of handle work-life balance in a way that is working better than right now. Because I'm doing a lot of things, and a lot of those things are really important for um, like getting the connections, doing the networking, doing things for the project. But yeah, running a bit to how do you say in a way that isn't working out long term.
too many
Because
hats. Yeah.
I'm 25, but I'm still I'm starting to feel my knees and things.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
shouldn't be a concern when you're 25.
No, but I really I love the story that you've kind of it's amazing that as a group of like friends, people you've met through university, like you've said, you've just gone, do you know what? Almost excuse the French, fuck it. We'll just we
Yeah,
will yeah, and I respect it, and I really really love that story because the best things in life come from risks, I say, and I think that's great that when you've just kind of you've all gone right, let's do it, and you've done it, and in the next
yeah.
3 months, you'll get there and you'll all sit back and go, oh my god, we did it, and yeah,
Oh, next.
yeah, yeah. What's next, or should we have a break, kind of thing? And I love that because
Yeah.
it's kind of, you've kind of done it with your friends and you've grown up together as well, which is mad. Like you've over the last 5 years, you'd have watched each other grow up and learn together, and at
Yeah,
the end,
yeah.
you've got something that can never be taken away from that, and that's an actual video game that's been commercially developed, and it's great. I think that's such a good story because, like Cam just kind of went to me, got a developer on, and here's his game they're developing, and from that to actually, it's a group of like friends straight out of university to kind of go, let's do it. I love that. It's such a great story from that's behind the story of the game. There's a whole other story there, isn't there? That's not just
It is
Panta
a
Rhei.
bit
There's
crazy.
it's It's great. You've nailed it. It's crazy. It's great. It's such an original story, and I think people will appreciate that story just as much as they appreciate the game.
So, question really now, Bobs. When are we developing a game together?
Oh God, you couldn't work with me, Cam. You'd kill me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, you couldn't deal with the mess that's the wobbly gamer.
I think that's a general learning as well from me as a producer, project manager in games. Is like the chaos part. I think it's kind of beautiful because I just recently realized that I was giving a talk at a project manager conference that's not focused on games. It was just like general project managers, and there were like people from BMW like giving keynote and like all those people with real jobs. um, I was giving a talk about the challenges in game development as well. But what I realized from the no, the first point was like what I realized is that Panta Rhei actually from the story it's about kind of balancing order and chaos in your life and like with how you spend your time. And this is I think really reflective of how we work in the games industry as well, because we do need the order and kind of the project planning and the roadmaps and the deadlines because we are making commercial products and games that we need to release at some point. But we're also making highly creative, artistic pieces. And at the start of each game project, we really don't know where we will end up. We can't just do a plan and execute it like plan set and just do that. We need to have the room to breathe and iterate and have that chaotic energy. So it's really important to have this like the freedom and the breathing room and allow those very chaotic sessions and chaotic energy to thrive to make like really good games. Oh, yeah.
No,
So yeah,
I just it's you're gonna find a normal like producer role so easy after this. It's gonna be unreal. You're gonna be like,
Yeah.
where's the chaos? And it's gonna be not as nowhere near as what you've
What do
experienced.
you mean? What do you mean everything's sorted?
Yeah,
Control it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I honestly love that story, and just I think it's gonna make it, like I've said, people I think will be just as interested in the story behind Panta Rhei just as much as they probably could be interested in Panta Rhei, just because it's so. Oh, it's just so niche, like not niche, but it's so heard of for people kind of like to do it in that way and just go right, let's do it. And I love that. I respect it, and I think it's gonna be really good for you guys. And yeah, when
Yeah.
you do get the game across the line, as to say. But we've been talking for what? You've been talking for 50 minutes now. Let's give you a couple of minutes, and then we will jump over to this week's charity challenge, and then let you get back to the chaos, I suppose we could say.
I was going to say just one little bit of advice: find out when GTA launches and avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Do not
that-
launch anywhere near GTA.
That would be very unfortunate. Yes.
But no, right. We will be moving on to the charity challenge.
Accessibility podcast called to put it bluntly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back, as I was saying. And this is the charity challenge. So we will be testing Raf's knowledge of a chosen game. So, Raf, what game did you select?
If I remember correctly, it should be Pyre from Supergiant.
Yep, that is correct. That's what I have written down here. So all is going to plan. That project has been managed effectively. So why Pyre?
Why Pyre? Pyre, kinda the game that got me into game design or game development. It was like the game I played, and it made me realize how powerful games can be as a storytelling device. Really. Yeah.
So yeah, this was like obviously I had used of the game before, but I didn't know the concept. So I obviously did a bit of research and looked really interesting. But obviously we do the quiz. So what is your chosen charity organization you want the money to potentially go to?
Yes, the charity I chose is Caritas Austria. I can choose it because they're kind of doing a lot of things in Austria. They're kind of providing infrastructure and support to lots of people in different parts of life in Austria and internationally. So they're kind of they're helping everyone who's who's in need in some capacity here.
Perfect as ever. So what we'll do is my co-host will do questions 1, 3, and 5. I'll do question 2 and 4. And however many you get is your score, and then we do the letter. So, Wobbles, if you want to start the quiz when you're ready.
Sorry about that. What is the name of the group of exiles that the protagonist, the reader, helps lead in Pyre?
So these are multiple choice, the first two questions, and then they get a bit harder. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got A, the Tempers, B, the Fates, C, the Nightwings, or D, the Withdrawn.
Okay, it was the Nightwings. It's been, I think, like about 10 years since I've played
Yeah,
this
no,
game.
you've correct. You've got that one right. Nope.
Yep. So, question 2. What is the primary objective of the rites in Pyre? A. To gain freedom from exile. B. To achieve personal redemption. C. To gain riches and glory. Or D. To conquer territories.
Yes, that's to get your freedom from the exile
2 for 2.
and return to the Commonwealth.
Question number 3.
Well,
Which
These are non-multiple choice
Yes,
though,
these
so
are- yeah.
you get one.
which game by the same developer was released after Pyre?
Ooh, good question. They did Bastion first, and then Transistor and Pyre, I think in that. So the next one would have to be Hades? It's either Transistor or Hades, I can't, but I think Hades was the next one.
Well, if we take Hades as your correct answer, that is correct. Yeah, Hades.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, they've developed some really interesting games. Like the question was originally going to be which one was developed before, but I wasn't sure how the difficulty and if you'd played it before. But yeah, I think most people have heard of Hades.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
sure. No, I mean,
Pyre was
I did play all of their games.
well. I'm glad I didn't do the question. Who developed this? So that would have been a thing. Right. So question 4: Who is the leader of the Pyre Hearts?
The leader of Fireheart. Oh boy, that's a really good question. But there were so many different teams in there, so many different characters that I can't remember, unfortunately.
You took a guess at it. Wobbles could be an answer. It's not Wobbles.
I'm just thinking. I think the Firehearts might be the ones that were like these slug-like creatures, but I can't really remember any of their names. I can't even remember the names of the main characters, to be honest.
Anything you can think of, we'll take as an answer if we can't think.
Um, uh, it could be. It was. I think it was a slug. Maybe it was a slug. Was it just a slug?
It's
So your answer?
Yes.
Okay. It is Sir Deluge.
The deluge. Yeah. Oh, wait, it was a slug.
Ah,
Okay. No, but I didn't know the name, but it was one of the slugs. At least. At
okay.
least I got that right.
Yeah.
I take that for my honor.
question number 5. Which location do you first encounter the essence?
Oh boy. Oh, I'm guessing the swamp. Can't remember the correct name, but there was a swamp.
Is it so it says the answer is the nest of tree Esther.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure anymore what the different locations were. I know they were all beautiful and they had all very cool names.
So 3 is still a respectable score
Yeah.
because they do get quite hard towards the end. It's definitely
Well, we should say you get hard towards the end when I do the quiz.
yeah, all right.
By 3 out of 5, I'm taking that as a win. That was 3 out of 5, right?
Yeah, 3 out of 5. Yeah, it's a win. So now we go on to the next part of the charity challenge, where I randomly generate a letter, and you get 30 seconds to name as many games that begin with that letter as possible. So I've just got the generator up on my phone, and you have got the letter P. So P for pineapple. Yeah. And
Okay, I know. Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is just get the clock up on my phone to give you a little. I'm not that mean. I'm not like, right, go. I'll just get the stopwatch up on my phone. So your 30 seconds to name as many video games that begin with the letter P starts now.
Okay, P is actually kind of hard. I know there's one game from a fellow developer in Austria who made Penny's Adventure. A bit unfortunately named, but it's Penny's Adventure. There probably is some kind of Pirates of the Caribbean game.
Yeah.
The Nintendo knockoff game or something. What else is there with P? P. Pineapple. Is there a pineapple game? P principles. Pie. Probably something with pies.
We
Pluto.
are
Something
done.
Pluto. Oh damn, that was fast.
Yeah, that was.
It sneaks up, but it does sneak up on people. So, some of the answers you could have had: Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. Oh my god,
Um,
that would have been too easy.
The only one I got was Prince of Persia. Would have been.
That's even a
that's
reference
Alphabet
for Panta Rhei. Panta Rhei, I could.
Oh my god, his own game.
Oh my god. Okay.
Don't show the team this
very
podcast.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Payday.
Yeah, true.
Power Simulator, Persona, PGA Tour,
Really good games.
Pro Evolution Soccer.
I wouldn't worry because I do it with you, so I don't have a list of games. Cameron's got the list of games, so I just freezed just as much as you. I've just gone. Yeah. All I could think of was Prince of Persia, but no. Honestly,
I like to say about myself that I do know a lot of games from research, but that didn't really show.
And the best bit is you're not the first person to not name the game they're working on. Someone else did that as well. They're working on a game and they didn't put that game in. Yeah, you're not the only one, don't
Really
worry.
embarrassing.
But that is it for this week's episode. Raf, I just wanted to say thank you for your time, as we always do to finish. And it's been great. I honestly love not just the game, but I think the story behind the game as well. It's so interesting and like it's not something I've ever heard of. And I was totally like just fully respect the decision to just kind of go, fuck it, let's do it. And it's great. I think it's such a good story behind the game itself. And I'm excited to give the game a go.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And if you need an accessibility consultant,
No, but honestly,
Yes, of course.
it's great. I think it's great, and it's been great to chat to you. And thank you again for your time.
Yeah.
So, no,
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for the
That's it.
chat. It was
But-
really cool.
as ever, all of the information for Raf will be in the dump, links to his socials, and most importantly, the link to Panta Rhei. So please go and follow that. Wishlist it if it sounds up your
give the
street.
demo a download.
Give the demo a download and show it some
Yes.
love, please. So everyone, I'd just like to say we will be back at some point next week. This has been episode 25 of To Put It Bluntly. I've been the Wobbly Gamer.
And I've been Cam.
I'm Raf.
Perfect.
We're done.